Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. And good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So, sorry, you've just caught me out typing because I'm just putting in something, just one of the things that I want to show you with the things that I'm showing you, or I will be showing you in this video. Something I just forgot to get up there. So, how are you? How are your Christmas plans coming along? If you're watching this live, it is the 14th of December 2024. If you don't know anything about me, my name's Vicky Marie. I live in mainland Spain. It is a very chilly 5 degrees this morning. It is just past 12 midday. It's beautiful out there, the sun's shining, but it is freezing for Spain especially, so it's very cold, unseasonably cold, I would say, for Spain. But anyway, what I'm going to talk about today, the subject matter of this video, I'm going to talk about two missing cases. I'm going to talk about Sebastian Rogers. Poor Sebastian. You know, the circle of lies and grifting around his case, the people trying to, I don't know, capitalize on it, including his own father. I'm feeling like calling it out now. I do feel that Seth is a grifter. I'm sorry. And because he's in league with Dog the Bounty Hunter, Nik the Hat, or as somebody was calling him on Twitter or on X, Nik the TWAT. Probably fits him better. They've been circulating all this misinformation, and anyway, all the things they've been saying about green hoodie man or green hoodie gal turns out just absolutely irrelevant to Sebastian's case anyway, which I think most of us normal thinking people knew that already, and it was just like a hysteria whipped up by Dog the Bounty Hunter. To me, has just completely lost the plot. But anyway, we're going to talk about that first of all. And I feel, honestly, I could leave this case behind again. I've left it behind before. But do you know what? I can't because of Sebastian. So it's important. Sebastian needs finding. It's not his fault that his father's a grifter and in with all these other people who are grifting off his disappearance. Not his fault, is it? And then, you know, I feel for Katie and Chris Proudfoot. Katie is his mum. People are very down on her, but she's facing her first Christmas without her son. And if she was all over YouTube grifting like Seth is, her name would be mud, even more mud than it is already. So my sympathies lie with Sebastian and with Katie, to be honest. And if it turns out that Katie has done something to her son, well, yeah, then I'll eat my words, change my mind. But from what I see at the moment, the only people who are capitalising out of Sebastian's disappearance are Dog the Bounty Hunter, Nik the TWAT, and Seth. And Tony Maroney, of course, Tony Baloney, Tony Mathis. So there you go. I'm pegging my colours to the mast there because that's how I feel. And I think I feel especially like that after now this information that I'm going to tell you about today. That it was all a load of rubbish and a whip up of hysteria over the green hoodie man, woman, person, whoever it was. So that's who I'm going to talk about first. I think you've already got like an idea of my views. If you don't agree with my views, I apologise for that. No, well, I don't really. I mean, they're still my views, but they are my views. And you're welcome, if you feel differently, you're welcome to say it as long as you're not disrespectful to anyone in the chat. And remember, please, few basic rules of the chat. Nothing mega. People, you know, some people don't seem to be able to get their heads around it or didn't seem to be able to get their heads around it. We don't attack each other in chat. We don't talk about other YouTube channels, and certainly not, you know, tell it. Anyway, that's just that we don't dox ourselves, say where we're going to be tomorrow or, you know, what we're doing, or try and inveigle other people to where they live to dox themselves as well. We don't do that in this chat. Okay. So after I've spoke about Sebastian, I'm going to talk about another missing person, which is in Bristol. I'm looking for, I've got a photo here somewhere, but let me just find it. And this is Jack OSullivans. And this is in Bristol in the UK. So Sebastian went missing from in America, near Nashville, Tennessee. And we're going to have a look at the actual area. And Jack, he went missing from Bristol in the UK. And we're going to have a look where that is when I come to it. I want to find it. I've got too many photos, I think, here. I've got several photos of Jack. And I just want to put up there to show you. If you watch my channel regularly, then you'll know that I've followed this case quite often. But every now and again, I like to do a little update. There he is. So let me just show you a photo of Jack. This is Jack with his mum, Catherine. We're going to hear her talking. She's absolutely devastated. He went missing after a night out. And we're going to have a look at recent interviews she did. We're going to have a look at a statement she's put out. And of course, for all these missing people, their families, etc., Christmas, just an absolute nightmare, isn't it? Christmas coming up, absolute nightmare. Couldn't be worse, really. It's not even just that you've lost them where you know what's happened to them. You don't even know where they are and what they're doing this Christmas, if they're doing anything. You know, it's a horrible, must be just awful to not know what's happened to your loved one. So that's who, and I want to as well contrast that with what's, you know, this circus that's going on around Sebastian. It's not Sebastian's fault. I'm not casting, you know, poor Sebastian. Sebastian's gone missing. He doesn't know. He hasn't caused any of this. He hasn't created it. He's just well, he was at 15 when he went missing. He's just turned 16 now. I'm not blaming him, but you know, the people around him, you know, I wonder if he did run off. No wonder he ran off if he thought he was going to have to go and live with Seth. But yeah, in complete contrast, you know, Catherine has behaved with nothing but dignity, and she's had some trolling, as you'll see when we watch the interview we're going to watch. You know, she's had some strange phone calls, people claiming ransoms, psychics saying they know where he is. You know, she's had her share of those, but she hasn't entered into the media circus. She's been very calm, very dignified, and she just wants to know where her son is. So that's who we're going to talk about after we've talked about Sebastian. But before we talk about either of them, I'm going to say hello to everyone. I just want to say thank you. I never put my banner up. I always forget. Thank you to all of you that watch my videos. Thank you to those of you who are subscribers. That's special thanks. And a special thanks to people who like my videos. And then an extra special thanks, of course, to my members. Please think about becoming a member. And my members have just had the opportunity to claim their free gift for Christmas. Because I wanted to show how much I do appreciate my members, and that any of you that have claimed the free gift up to yesterday, because it's finished now, you had a couple of weeks to sort of claim your free gift. Not everybody wanted a free gift, fair enough, because of course you had to give an address for it to be sent to. Not everybody wants me to know their address, and I understand that perfectly. Maybe next time you'll have a bit more confidence. And to anyone who maybe wasn't a member, think about becoming a member, because I will be doing. I've enjoyed doing this, and people have been very appreciative of it. And I've got a lot of members. I mean, I've got about 80 members, not all of which are paid members. Some were gifted memberships. Thank you to everybody who gifts memberships. That's quite a lot of members for a small channel like mine. And, you know, probably luckily not everybody's claimed their free gift. But for those of you who have, it's either on its way to you or you've already received it. Thank you so much. And I will be doing a similar sort of thing, probably not sure if I'm going to do it for Valentine's Day or Easter, similar sort of thing. And if you've already got my book or you don't want my book or whatever, there's always something I can send. I've sent mugs to some people, or there's always something that I can send, just a little token of my appreciation. So yeah, think about becoming a member. We have members' lives every Monday, and then if you're a Let's Chat member, they're every second Thursday. But of course, if you're a Carry On Chatting member, you can go in those lives as well. Exclusive lives, exclusive videos. There's going to be some very exclusive photos coming out at Christmas that I'm going to share with my members. And yeah, it helps to support my channel. So thank you so much. What else? Oh, and thank you to everyone who's bought me a Ko-fi, or everyone who's PayPal'd me or bought me a super sticker. I appreciate every bit of it. Sent me an email suggesting, people send me emails, not only suggesting cases, but interesting videos, videos I think I might find interesting, etc. And, it's all, I don't always get around to answering immediately. Sometimes I do, it depends what's happening. But I try to answer my emails. Or even if it's not immediately, but sometimes I don't get around to it, and I'm sorry if I've not replied to your email. Unless it was a horrible email, and then, you're not going to get a reply. So thank you so much. Okay, let's take this banner off, and I'm going to say hello to everybody now. Hey, David. Now, I'm so glad that there's a few of you on here, because I must admit, I was thinking, because of course it's Saturday, it's coming up to Christmas. Gosh, as I'm sort of talking here, Amazon is sending me notifications. Your package will be arriving today. I get all excited, and I'm thinking, oh no, that's one of the members. It's like, I've got nothing arriving today for me. Yeah, of course, it's coming up to Christmas. It's Saturday. I hope you've got on top of your whatever you've got to buy for Christmas. I think it seems to be cold almost everywhere, so you probably don't want to go out into the cold and storms or whatever you've got going on. Or maybe you've already been out, and if you're anything like me, you're out at the crack of dawn, get to the shops, get back before they get too busy. Okay, hi David, hi Tracy. Oh, nice, a pot of chicken broth, that sounds nice, David, with some crusty bread. Hi Zero. Why does yeah, I don't know why anyone believes Nik or Dog, to be honest, but some people do. There you go, that's their prerogative, I suppose, but I don't understand it. Oh, Angel's working. Oh, Tracy's working. Anyway, if you're working, and at least maybe you can listen in the background. Quite often not when I'm in classes, obviously I can't be in classes and be watching YouTube. But sometimes when I'm, working, like doing researching for videos and stuff like that. Oh, and this morning I've done a lot of cleaning. I had a shopping delivery, and then I did some cleaning. So I'm aching now because it's a lot of, listen, having 3 dogs, the hair. I could have stuffed a mattress with the hair I've picked up this morning. You've got to keep on top of it, haven't you? Otherwise it just, you'd be just, the hair would be up to here. So anyway, I'm all clean now. The house is all clean until tomorrow. So yeah, that's what I've been doing today. Oh, and I just wanted to, sorry, before I get onto this, I'm waffling. I don't like these roses wrappers, I like the ones with the cellophane that you could look through, the orange ones. And when I was a kid, and we used to get the tubs of roses at Christmas, and you'd unwrap them and you'd make little glasses out of the, these are boring, aren't they? I don't know. Just nothing's the same now, is it? Nothing's as good as it used to be. So let's get on to talking about Sebastian. So there's been this, for those of you who don't know, I think everyone who's watching this probably, I want to say hello to people watching at home. the lurkers who don't like to maybe come in the chat, or maybe they just pop in every now and again. Hello to you. Hello to anyone watching on replay. So yeah, recently in the Sebastian Rogers case, so Sebastian was the boy who literally disappeared, into thin air, which of course we know people don't do, but that's how it felt with Sebastian, that he disappeared into thin air. Let me just put this up so you can have a look at it. There's Sebastian in the middle. That's his dad, Seth, with the glasses at the side of him. His mum, Katie, in the bottom right-hand corner, and his stepdad, Chris. Dog, the Bounty Hunter, of course. And there's Sebastian, bless him. 15 years old when he disappeared. He's just had his 16th birthday, wherever he is. And he literally went to bed. Or his mum thought he had gone to bed, and when she went to get him up to school the next morning, he wasn't there. And of course, there's lots of people out there think maybe Katie had something to do with that, his disappearance. And maybe she did. I don't think so, personally, but there's always a possibility. Anything's possible in this crazy world. But anyway, he disappeared. And since then, there's been various searches, etc. Supposedly, all the three parents, because you've got Seth, who's the biological father, Katie, the biological mother, and Chris Proudfoot, the stepfather. Apparently, they've all done lie detector tests. They've all passed lie detector tests. Nobody's been arrested. Nobody's been, declared a person of interest. The police have said they've got no reason to suspect foul play, but they're not ruling it out. They've said that they do have more information, but they can't release it because it will compromise their investigation, etc. Anyway, it's been a bit of a circus, isn't it? Seth in particular, the biological father, appearing on loads of YouTube channels and basically just using this as an opportunity to slag off his ex. Were they married? I think they were married. His ex-wife Katie, Sebastian's mum. I think he's never got over them splitting up. That's the impression I always get. It's all about his animosity towards Katie and Chris, of course, because Chris is Katie's new man. I don't think Seth likes that. And there's things in Seth's background. He's accusing them of being reported to Child Protection Services, but of course Seth himself was referred to Child Protection Services, and Seth himself, according to the divorce papers, is a domestic abuser and a very aggressive man. So comes down to who do you believe, or maybe they're all just as bad as each other. I don't know. Poor Sebastian was a bit stuck between a rock and a hard place, was he? Anyway, they said that Sebastian was supposed to be going to live with Seth. Maybe he didn't want to go and live with Seth. Apparently, he was left alone for hours when he was with Seth, because Seth would go to work and just leave him. And bearing in mind, he's only 16 now, Sebastian. So I think, Seth's not an angel, the angel that he makes himself out to be. No parent is an angel, though, to be fair. But I think he's actually not a very nice person, personally. But there you go. That's just my opinion. That doesn't mean say he's done anything to Sebastian, of course. But what it does mean is he's not as innocent as he paints himself out to be. So he's now got his own YouTube channel, which is not only monetized in the sense of, obviously, you sort of have an unconscious monetizing because once you reach a certain number of subscribers and watch hours, YouTube automatically, they invite you to become a YouTube partner. I suppose you don't have to do it. You could just not do it. You have to take a process of steps to become monetized. You can't just become monetized without applying for it. You get to a point where you've got enough subscribers, you've got enough watch hours. YouTube will say, basically, if you want to become a YouTube partner, this is what you have to do. And Seth has done that. And not only that, he's created membership tiers on his channel, going from sort of $2.99 right up to $49.99. he did a telethon on Sebastian's birthday where people sent him a lot of money, even though he said, oh, you know, we're not doing this for money. But obviously people are going to send super stickers and things like that, aren't they? If you're on a telethon talking about Sebastian, it was a definite grift, to be honest, in my views, because he didn't have to. If he wanted to put out a tribute video to Sebastian, he could have just recorded a video and put it out. It was like an appeal for money, as far as I could see. And of course, he's involved with Tony now, so I don't know how much of it is Tony's influence, because Tony is a complete sinister guy. Maybe he's taking advantage of Seth. I don't know. Anyway, then on top of everything, Dog the Bounty Hunter got involved, and Nik the TWAT, and they've created this detective agency at night. And lately they've sort of whipped up social media into a frenzy by releasing the Texas Roadhouse video, which of course is the last video of Sebastian. I was going to say alive then, and I shouldn't say it because I don't know that he's not alive even now. But the last time Sebastian was seen having dinner at the Texas Roadhouse with his mum, Katie, after they'd been out bowling. And then it was apparently after that they went home, and, you know, it was after that he went missing. And they made a big thing of this person in a green hoodie that they first of all called green hoodie guy. Then they said, oh no, actually it's a woman. And there's an interchange between this hoodie person and Katie, and made a massive thing out of it. And then, you know, they did it with a lot of clickbait type things. Oh, there'll be a big release by Dog later on today, or, you know, Nik the Hat's going to make this great big revelation, you know, all those kind of things, all the clickbait stuff. I honestly think Dog the Bounty Hunter has lost the plot. You think about the series that he used to be in, where everyone liked that, didn't they? Or it was popular. Obviously, everyone wouldn't have liked it, but most people did. It was a popular program. I used to watch it. What was it, in the 90s? But the thing is, that was a different thing, because he was catching bad guys, wasn't he, or girls? He was a bail bondsman. So if somebody had skipped bail, it'd be Dog that would go and try and find them. And people could get on board with that. But he's in a different zone now. You know, he's using the death. Oh, God, I've got to stop saying that. Death. So sorry, so sorry. He's using the disappearance of a 15-year-old, now 16-year-old boy to grift, to get attention, to get publicity. That's different from what he used to do before. You know, he did actually go off trying to catch the bad guys, people who skip their bond. Whatever their offence is, they've broken the law. So everyone can get on board with that. Yeah, go and get them. They shouldn't skip bond. You know, that's what bounty hunters are for, isn't it? It goes back to the Wild West, doesn't it? So people would get a price on their head, and the bounty hunters would go searching for them all over America. And, you know, Dog is just a modern version of that. And that's fair enough, isn't it? But what he's doing now is not fair enough. It's not fair enough. He's using this disappearance of a 15-year-old autistic boy for publicity and for clicks and things. And Nik the Hat, he's the same. And he's got a checkered history. He's been arrested. He's been in prison. You know, they've all have, you know, and fair enough. Everybody's got their past. But, you know, just the way that they're casting shadows on Chris and Katie without any evidence. They have no evidence that maybe Chris and Katie have done something to Sebastian. But my point is, there is no evidence of that. They have no right to do it, because if it's not true, that's a mother who's coming up to Christmas wondering what's happened to her son. And not only she's got to cope with that, she's got to cope with all this nastiness that's surrounding. There shouldn't be any until it's proven. Anyway, let's see where this happens. So this is where Sebastian disappeared for. from. So it's Stafford Court is the area or the neighbourhood that he's gone missing for, and it's, as you can see, it's near Nashville, Hendersonville. You know, this red dot, that's where it is. Now, there's been, as I was telling you the other day, there's been a body found in a landfill, but it's right over here in Anderson County, I think. But we've got no information about that, if it's anything to do with Sebastian or any other, or Summer Wells or any other person that's missing over there. We don't know yet. But this is where Sebastian went missing from. And if we don't know America, if we go sort of pan out, you can see as far as America's concerned, it's sort of over this way, coming towards the deep south. That's where this incident happened. Right, where have I gone? I've lost myself now. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Laurie. Hi, Yvonne. Oh, you're cleaning this afternoon, Tracy. Okay. So after Dog saying all this, you know, all this talk about this green hoodie person, and first of all, it was a person, then it was a woman supposedly wearing a green hoodie like this, and we saw the video, and it shows a brief interchange between this person in the hoodie and Katie, and it just looked like Katie was trying to get in her car and this person was walking past. Anyway, it seems like that's exactly what happened. You know, I feel like I'm in one of those moments where I don't like to say I told you so, but I told you so. So now it's been announced, not only by Dog, but by the police. Let's see. So let's just watch this. So this is the Texas Roadhouse video again. Let's watch that one more time. I don't think we can ever watch it enough times. It's very poignant to see Sebastian the last time he's ever been seen. Well, apart from Katie when he got home. And they've taken this video, they've slowed bits of it down, they tried to make it look suspicious. And he's pinned it to his Twitter, to his ex. But, you know, to me, it just looks like, you know, a mum and a son having something to eat after being to play bowls. I don't see anything suspicious about it. But some people do. Anyway, when they finished eating and they went outside, that's when they bumped into green hoodie person. So Sebastian got in one side of the car, and Katie, she was going to the driver's thing, and then this person in a green hoodie walked past, and they had some sort of interchange. You could see that. Who knows what they said, because we couldn't hear what they said. Some people are saying that maybe it was someone who was disabled, and they picked up Katie because they were in the disabled bay. And of course, the thing is, not all disabilities are easily visible, are they? You know, as Sebastian would be counted as disabled because he had autism, but he is not visibly disabled. So I'm presuming Katie had a disabled sticker for Sebastian. So some people were speculating maybe that green hoodie person was saying, why are you parked in the disabled bay? Yeah, maybe, who knows? But there was some sort of interchange between them. Then this green hoodie person came inside the Texas Roadhouse, went to the restroom, and then went out again and disappeared off the thing. So that's basically what happened. So people were putting two and two together and making 47 and saying that this was the person that had come to pick Sebastian up and You know, it was some sort of agreement between Katie and the green hoodie person. So that went on for about 2 days, didn't it? All that. So really, he had about 3 days publicity out of it, because he had the build up to it. He had the watch this space because we're going to reveal something very important for a day. Then he had the actual, what he wanted to say about the green hoodie person. Then it was the green hoodie woman. It's a woman, not a man. So he got a good few days of publicity out of it. And then finally now, it's nothing to do with the investigation. That's what both Dog the Bounty Hunter is saying now, and that is the police have released a statement as well. So yeah, so it's all, so really all those past 3-4 days have just been a publicity stunt for Dog the Bounty Hunter and Nik the TWAT, and we're no further on in actually knowing what has happened to Sebastian. Anyway, so that's them going off. That's like they're going off. I might show the outside. I can't remember if this particular video does. That's them on the way out into, and poor Sebastian, as far as we're concerned, is going off into oblivion, really, because although it seems like he did go home with his mum, then we don't know what happened to him after that, bless him. Oh, hang on. So now, look at this. So this post by Dwayne Dog Chapman, they've had to block out these pictures now of the green hoodie person, because there would just be some poor person that was just walking past. Dog Nation, green hoodie was interviewed by detectives in Sumner County today, thanks to your support. Oh, so dogs cracked the case. So forget the fact that Sumner County police, they'll have had this video right from day one for months. Sebastian went missing in February, for God's sake. Are you telling me that Sumner County have not looked at this video until Dog brought it to their attention? I mean, it's so ridiculous. It's so ludicrous that if it wasn't so serious that it's about a missing boy, it would be funny, because it's like ridiculous to think that Dog thinks we're stupid enough to believe that the police never looked at this before. Anyway, they also thought she was suspicious at first, but they cleared it up after an interview. You all know me, my brothers and sisters. Sometimes I've been wrong. Well, when have you been right? Recently. You weren't right about Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie. What have you been right about recently, Dog? You've lost the plot. He has definitely lost the plot. It's like desperation stakes. But all I've got to be is right one time, and we're continuing the hunt. $250,000 reward. So we're back to really where we were before the green hoodie person. Now, the only good thing I think that has come out of this is, you know, all publicity is a good thing, isn't it? The more people that know about Sebastian and are looking for him, I'm not against that. Publicity is good when somebody's gone missing, definitely. But, you know, just horrible to, you know, why don't he go back to bloody looking for his Bond people and that? You know, that seems a more legitimate way of grifting, if you like. That's not grifting, that's working. This is pure grifting, because he's just sort of sat there really releasing all this false information. Also, is casting aspersions on a mother who's lost her child. You know, whatever we believe or don't believe, we don't know anything. And it's just foul, I think, to do that, to accuse Katie of things with no evidence. Just so wrong. Imagine if it was me, or if it was you and your child, and somebody, not only you've got to cope with the fact you haven't got a clue where they are, but then people are accusing you of doing something to them. It's just unbearable. So it's not right. I'm sorry, it's just not right. What he's doing is not right. Anyway, let's see what the police had to say about this, because the police have released a statement. Let me find it. Let's see. Oh, by the way, this is Nik, the TWAT. Now, he's put this picture up on his Facebook profile, and I think he's put it on his Twitch as well, of him with a like sticking plaster over his mouth as if he's been told to be quiet. I don't know. He gets involved in various sort of cases. He's got the same video there. And he's got the same post here with the pictures that now have got to be blocked out. Look, and these idiots, I'm sorry, some people are just fools because they're saying, oh, my gut feeling tells me, this Holly Randolph says, gut feeling tells me Steve Fisher, so it was all the other private investigators' fault. He told some County green hoodie person was nobody and they took his word for it. Of course they did, because that's what the police do, isn't it? Yeah, you go and say to them, oh, no, that's not anybody. And the police go, oh, well, see, now you've said it's nobody. We'll take your word for it. Just, honest to God, it's like, oh, my God, get me out of this twilight zone. So, yeah, it's all because they're siding with dogs. They can't see any different. And despite, so it's all must be the other private investigator's fault, not Dog's fault for being a grifter and a liar. No, it's the other guy's fault. Anyway, I'm trying to find what the actual police said. Oh, there it is. So this was shared by Steve Fisher, who, of course, that woman will probably say is in cahoots with the police or with Katie and Chris. They're all in cahoots to cover everything up. But anyway, so on December the 13th, the actual Eric Craddock, the sheriff, we've seen him talk before, he said, finally, and I'm glad he's come out and said something, because sometimes part of the fault for it does lie with the police. They have to clear up these things because if they don't come out and actually make public statements, people do speculate, don't they? We want to address the recent speculation surrounding the individual seen wearing a green hoodie near Texas Roadhouse in relation to the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers from Hendersonville, Tennessee. We understand that the community's concern and the desire for answers in this case. I bet he's thinking, oh my God, these nutters out there, because they're trying to investigate this case, and every time something that has just wasted their time, hasn't it? It was obvious. I mean, so maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe it wasn't obvious. Maybe you should chase down every lead and everything. But to me, it was obvious that person was just walking past Katie. There was nothing, people were reading something into it that wasn't there. And also, the police will have looked into this in February. I mean, they're addressing it now, but you're telling me they didn't check that? Well, okay, maybe they didn't, I don't know, but to me it just seems ridiculous. Anyway, today detectives interviewed the person in question regarding their presence on the night of February the 25th. We can confirm that after a thorough discussion with this individual, there is no evidence linking them to Sebastian's disappearance. We appreciate the vigilance and cooperation from the public and all those involved in the search for Sebastian. We encourage everyone to continue providing any pertinent information that could assist in this ongoing investigation. Oh, well, that's good. They're still asking for information. However, we also urge the community to approach social media rumours with caution. So he's saying that in a polite way, but what he's saying is don't believe all the BS out there, as misinformation can distract from the real efforts to find Sebastian. The search for Sebastian Rogers remains our top priority, and we will continue to pursue all leads with the utmost diligence. We ask for continued support and patience from the community as we work together to bring Sebastian home. To provide tips, please contact the Sumner County Sheriff's Office or the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Thank you for your understanding and support. So, yeah. I agree with what this woman says. Kelly, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office had this video from the get-go. They had not found anything of consequence in it. They were compelled to make a statement after speculation surfaced on social media. So that has just distracted, I think, from the main business, the important business, which is looking for Sebastian. Of course, they'll have checked that video out in February. Of course they will. Won't be a new, it's not new. It's not a new video. You know, the other thing was Dog made it seem as if it was a new, you know, it was newly released, but the police will have had it from February. Of course they will. Oh, I don't know. Why can't people see it? Anyway. Okay, I'm going to come back to the chat. Make sure you're all okay in the chat. So nothing to, the green hoodie person is nothing to do with the investigation. The police have specifically said there's nothing to do with it. Any other speculation is literally just that's been whipped up by Dog the Bounty Hunter, Nik the TWAT. There was no white envelope. There was nothing. It was just somebody walking past. So there you go. And we've got to accept that. Okay, so that's what we know. So the only good thing, as I said, the good thing is it has got people talking about Sebastian again. That can only be a good thing, can't it? I mean, you know, we want people to be out there passing on tips, or if they do genuinely think they've seen Sebastian or have any information, yeah, go to the police. But don't send the police on wild goose chases or give them red herrings so they feel compelled to come out and make statements that are, you know, basically they shouldn't have had to do that, because obviously they'll have already investigated that. So we're going to move on now, and we're going to talk about the other missing person that I want to talk about today. And again, another very, very sad case, of course. Let me just change the photo up at the top. So this is Jack OSullivans. Let me find his photo to put up there. Oh, Jack's another one that's had a birthday while he's been missing. Because when Jack first went missing, oh, hang on, I've got to take something off. Got too many photos, it's telling me, so I've got to take one off and put a different one up, the one of Jack that I want to put up. When Jack went missing after a night out in Bristol in the UK, we're going to have a look in a minute at that area. He was 22. He is now 23. He has also had a birthday while he's been missing. And he's been missing for many months now. And as we're coming towards Christmas, it feels, you know, just feels like nothing's happening. You know, there's been no developments. This is Jack with his mum Catherine. She's been like the spokesperson of the family. And the difference between the way sort of Seth in particular has acted over Sebastian and the way that Catherine, with her dignity and her poise, and I feel like Catherine is carrying the whole family, because of course she's got a husband and Jack has got a brother, but it's always Catherine who does that. She's the spokesperson, and I feel like she's holding it all together for everyone. But sometimes I expect she gets up in the morning and doesn't know how she's going to put one foot in front of the other. But she keeps going for Jack's sake. She's been doing as many interviews as possible. She's very disappointed in the police response. She says, you know, it's just like a young lad who's gone missing near water. They think he's gone in the water. You know, and they do think that, I think, but she's not sure, you know, because there are other things that might have happened. So let's just have a look where this happened. So this is in Bristol, in the UK. So we're going over the pond now for this other missing persons case. So there were two reasons why I decided to do these two videos together. One is I thought if I did Jack's video a lot, because Sebastian's case is so high profile, really, isn't it? I thought maybe people would be watching about Sebastian's case and then they might not have heard about Jack's case, and that sort of give an extra impetus to the search, because there's people interested in Sebastian's case probably from Bristol as well, because Sebastian's is like almost an international case, isn't it? It's all over America, but also anyone who's interested, you know, it's all over all the true crime channels, etc. So I think it's had more of a universal or a multinational interest, whereas Jack's perhaps has had less interest. Though, you know, I do think it is getting better, because Catherine has been trying. She's been on as many TV programs basically as we'll have her. YouTube, she's been on Sonia Poulsen, etc. She's been on Crime Watch. She's been on every, you know, she's definitely trying her best to keep this story out there. So this is where it happened. He was at a party in Hot Wells, which should be marked off somewhere there. Hot Wells, where's Hot Wells? Can't see where it is specifically there, but it's somewhere around here. And he went to a party with some quite new friends, apparently. And, oh, there it is. There's Hot Wells there. Yeah, he went to a party somewhere around there. And then he decided to go home. There's a bit of confusion about what actually happened at the party. Did he have an altercation with someone? It said that he might have fallen down the stairs. We haven't heard from anyone who was at the party. You know, you think that they would be, well, I'm sure the police have interviewed them, but, well, hope so. Now, she is disappointed in the police treatment of her son's case. She's very disappointed. And maybe she's justified, because she's had to do quite a lot of detective work herself. Now, so it was Hot Wells where Jack was at the party, I think, and then he set off. He said he was messaging his mum, and he said he was going to get a taxi. She probably would have gone to pick him up, but he said no, he was fine. He would get a taxi, and she's traced a lot of his steps back. There's a lot of water. This is what worries me, because you feel like he could easily have fallen into the water. You understand why the police might have thought that. He looked quite drunk on the CCTV videos of him that have been captured. He could have fallen in the water. I mean, it's always a possibility, isn't it? But we don't know for sure, because although his body's been searched for, it hasn't been found. And then, of course, this is the Clifton Suspension Bridge up here, where the two suitcases were left with remains in. Do you remember that? And there was initially, the police were at pains to say this is not to do with Jack OSullivan, and that was the other case of the two guys from London. Which we've covered and we will be covering as it's coming up to trial now, etc. So yeah, and then his phone was still active. His phone the phone had the Find My Phone app on it, and Catherine went to where it was last pinged, and it was an address in the Hot Wells area, but there was nobody there or something. So anyway, you know, it's a complete mystery. Nothing's been found of Jack, not his body, not any of his belongings, not his clothes, nothing. Just he's vanished into thin air, which, as we know, people don't do. So Jack is somewhere. It's just, where is he? And now we're coming up to Christmas. Catherine's got no answers. What sort of a Christmas is that going to be? Christmas is a time for family. They've probably had lovely, they seem like quite a close family. And I'm sure they've had lovely Christmases normally. And now they've got this nightmare to face. Okay, so what else are we going to look at as far as, let me just put some windows down so I've got less things to get confused with. put the Sebastian windows down. Done. Okay, so poor Catherine, she was on just the other day on a BBC News item about missing people, and that's what we're going to watch. Now, this is 7 minutes long. We're going to watch the whole thing, I think, because it's about missing people in general, and I think it's important to remember all missing people, all family. You know, it won't be just Jack's family that are wondering where their loved one is. There'll be lots of them out there.
Not knowing where a loved one is.
Presenter Zoe Hardman meets those living through this unimaginable reality and finds out what support is available.
For lots of us, Christmas is a time to get together. But for some families, there'll be an empty place at the table. 170,000 people are reported missing each year, and those absences are being marked at a vigil for those affected.
Few things in life are more devastating to imagine than having to cope with a loved one being missing. And as the festive season approaches, a time associated with family and togetherness, those absences are felt more strongly than ever.
The majority of missing people are adults, and 3/4 of them are found within a day. A small number, just under 1%, stay missing for longer than a month, and every single one of them is significant.
Jack is a very lovely young man, very kind, very caring, quite quiet and quite shy really, but very determined, very ambitious, very clever. It's a pleasure to say Jack's my son.
Yeah, now Jack, this is the other thing. So Jack is a trainee lawyer. And you know, he's not a boy. You know, some young people, they do go missing on a regular basis, don't they? If there's some strife in the family, or maybe there's some substance issues, or it can be all sorts of reasons, can't they, where young people might go missing. But you know, from what we can make out, like Jack was like a real good boy, do you know what I mean? And he always let his mum know where he was. He just wasn't the sort of person who would ever run away before, which doesn't mean that it can't be the first time, of course, you know, I know that. But this is the thing, is, you know your child, don't you? There's things I know my son would do and things I know he wouldn't, or I think do. I mean, I'm sure there's things I don't know about him. But you know, if your son acts out of character, one thing I do know is if my son said he was on his way home and he said he'd be home at 10, say, he will be home at 10. Because he is an absolute, you know, he's almost, you know, we've talked to him maybe on the spectrum as far as time is concerned. You know, if you've got to be at somewhere at a certain time, everything's about, well, what time he does you know, he's so punctual. He just is. That's the way he is. It's the way I am most of the time. I mean, I'm a bit more lax than him. But, you know, some people are just like that. And then there's other people, you know, they say they'll be there at 10 and be lucky if they get there by 11. And you know, but you know that that's what they're like. They're normally late, or they're normally not that, you know, they get involved in other things. Like my son would never do that. That's one thing that I do know. If my son said he was coming home at 10, he would be home at 10. If he didn't know what time he was coming home, he would say, I don't know what time I'll be home. He would never he would never not turn up. Like, you know, if he said he was coming home at 10, or like Jack had said, I'm on my way home, I'm just looking for a taxi. My son would be the same. If he said that and he didn't turn up then within an hour or 2 hours, I would know there was something wrong, because that's just how he is. If he did get sidetracked, he would let me know he'd got sidetracked. That is one, you know, so you know your child, don't you? Now, you know, in other ways, there's other things that he might do. I don't know. But, you know, I just know, as far as saying he was coming home, he would be coming home. Otherwise, he wouldn't say it, you know. And Jack was the same. So he's a good boy in that sense. You know, he wouldn't just say, oh, I'm going out, I don't know what time I'll be in, and you know, what, don't sort of worry about me, or what you asking me for. You know, he wasn't that. He had a good relationship with his mum. And so she knows that for Jack not to come home, there's something that stopped him. He hasn't gone voluntarily. She knows that. And you can see that.
In March this year, Catherine OSullivan's son, Jack, went missing after a night out in Bristol. His absence is felt hugely by Catherine, her husband Alan, and older son Ben.
My hope is that he's still somewhere. My whole point for me now is to find Jack. So that is my day. From the minute I get up, I'm doing something to try and enable us to get an answer. I speak to a lot of other people who have been in my situation as well, just to get advice and opinions on how to keep this going. I do understand the reality. I'm sure he's not going to come back and surprise us all when I've gone to the shops one day, but I still leave the outside lights on because that was normal.
Could you talk to me about Ben and Alan, your husband? How are they doing?
They are really, really struggling, but they're just trying really hard to forge a way forward. There was always the three of them playing golf together, watching sport. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Sorry. But basically...
Now, that's the first time that I've ever seen, you know, she's been so strong, all of the things that I've seen her be interviewed on. She's always been so strong, bless her. And, you know, but I think Christmas will make it all so much, so very much more, you know, so very much more poignant, won't it? Just with it being Christmas. But that is the first time I think that I've seen Catherine get upset. She always holds herself together. And then she's saying sorry to the interviewer. Bless her. Awful. So, so Ninchi, what comment? You know, I haven't removed any comments. Sometimes comments are disappearing. I don't know, unless Nightbots took it, but I don't think so, because normally if I remove a comment, it will say this comment has been removed. Or if Nightbot removes one, or it'll say to me, this comment has been held. Do you want it? Because, you know, sometimes YouTube holds comments, but I don't know which comment. Say this, whatever you said again, and let's see what happens. Weird.
You know, they are so lost.
Catherine and her family are facing the possibility of their first Christmas without Jack.
Christmas is something that's not being talked about at the moment, because I suppose the three of us can't face it. You know, we will find a way, but it'll be a different way this year.
Paul Joseph from the charity Missing People knows that this time of year can be especially difficult for families like Catherine's.
Any time when you think of family, you think of being together, that's when it can feel really hard when someone's not there. It's not because they're overseas traveling or they've moved away or something else. It's because you just don't know where they are. Every year we hold an event for families for Christmas, whether they're thinking about the hope of whether someone's coming back or just remembering that person regardless of what's happened to them.
Jack was included at this year's vigil. When someone goes missing, Paul's advice is to trust your instincts.
You know, phone round, check with people, but if you still don't have the answers, don't know where they are, call the police. People are often quite hesitant about going to the police. People think that you have to wait 24 hours.
Is that not true?
It's not true, no. But police will take a missing report at any time. And it's really about the vulnerability of that person and how out of character the situation is. And the vast majority of people come home relatively quickly.
Nearly 75,000 children are reported missing every year. Jade was one of them.
Between the ages of around 15 and 17 and a half, I think it has been logged that I was reported missing 50, if not more times.
Jade was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes as a child, and by the time she was a teenager, she was struggling to manage her health. It affected her relationships with family, and during a stay in hospital, she decided to leave.
It was like an outlet and a way to escape the problems that I was dealing with. Nothing had ever given me the relief that going missing had given me. So it started to become the first thing I would turn to. It seemed like the only answer.
Being away from home and not taking her medication.
Now, this is interesting because this is like hearing it from the other. So this is a young person who deliberately went missing. And, you know, I certainly think, God, that's a bit selfish. No, I can't help it. The thing is, because you're just thinking how you would feel if that was your daughter, you know, and worrying where they were. And I know that people go through issues, and I understand them wanting to go. I just wish they would just at least say, you know, look, don't worry about me. I've just got to have some time on my own, and I'll be back. You know, I'll be in touch when I feel better. It still wouldn't be ideal. Don't get me wrong. You'd still worry about them, but at least, you know, you won't be thinking, have they been completely abducted and what have you? Oh God, you know, I just can't imagine how that feels for people. And then as Christmas comes, or birthdays, anniversaries, etc., you know, so this girl is telling her story, and it's brave of her to tell her story. But you see, Jack OSullivan, he wasn't like this girl. You know, she's going through something different. You know, people do go through different things. But Jack was not one of those young people. You know, Jack has not got home for some reason or another, either because someone stopped him going home, or because he's fallen in the river, or he's come to some other sort of foul play, or, you know, and really the best thing to hope for, I think, with Jack is that he has been kidnapped. You know, we're at that point, like we were with Jay Slater or any of those other cases. You're sort of almost hoping that they've been kidnapped, because at least that would mean they were still alive. Same with Sebastian. I hope it is a scam. I hope somebody is scamming, grifting. Honestly, if it means Sebastian's okay, good.
Meant she ended up seriously ill on several occasions. The situation only changed after she was admitted to intensive care and ended up spending 9 months in hospital.
I think it made me realise that was serious. It really did scare me. In some ways, it made me more grateful for every single day afterwards.
Fortunately, things are much better now. Jade managed to get her degree and works as a first responder. And she's rebuilt her relationship with her family.
I think looking back now, 15-year-old Jade wouldn't believe who I've become and the life I lead and where it's taken me. And the fact that my worst day now is better than my good days back then.
For people who are already missing or at risk, there is support. And it doesn't mean going home if you don't want to.
We have a helpline that's there every day for not just for families, but also for people who are missing themselves or thinking of leaving homes. We can talk about how to stay safe. We can talk about how to contact family members. We can put people on three-way calls to home or to police or to social services.
It's not always possible to prevent someone going missing, but there are things we can do to stay safe.
Obviously, this is the time of year when people are going out. You know, if you've had a few drinks, maybe agree in advance you're going to get a cab home with someone else. Let someone know where you are. There's various different apps that people can use to kind of check in with friends and stuff. And just look out for people. And if you're out with someone and they seem like they might not be able to look after themselves, maybe just give them a bit of help.
My conversations today have helped me understand how difficult the next few weeks will be for many families and missing people.
And if you're considered missing, there is support available from people willing to do whatever it takes to ensure your safety. It can be scary to
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, Laurie. Probably they are handpicked too, but they can't put everybody on TV, can they? At the end of the day, they can't. I don't know how they work out who they're going to select. I think the reason that Catherine gets a load of flack, from, you know, because you get the horrible people contacting her as well, saying she's not doing enough and doing that, but she's trying her best. She's a person. She's a person who probably before all this happened, she'd probably never been on social media. You know, she's not a social media friendly person. You know, some people are, like someone's already got an Instagram account or already posting on social media, etc. But some people, these missing, the relatives of these missing people, the parents especially, or partners, they've probably never, maybe Facebook's the most that they've ever done, if they've ever done that. Not everybody does Facebook or social media or Twitter or Instagram. You know, amazingly, there are people who never go on any of those things, you know, especially older generation. So, you know, I don't know how they pick who goes. I personally as well, I think that on the TV and the mainstream media, probably the social media as well, because we follow, you know, what they do in a way, but they pick cases that pick up traction, don't they? If a case picks up traction, like Nicola Bulley did, what I've noticed with mainstream media, they put on a story on their, you know, like on Sky News or somewhere, someone that I follow, they'll put a story up, and if it gets like lots of interest, because they know from people who click into it if people are interested in it or not. If they don't get much interest, they never talk about it again. You know, they don't stick with stories because they don't feel it. You know, like to me, it's like if I do a story, I would stick with it. Sometimes they do pick, you know, like with the Nicola Bulley case and maybe Jay Slater, those kind of things. They pick up attraction, but it wouldn't matter to me whether they picked up traction or not. Other cases like Sarah Sharif and that you don't get as many views for. Don't do it for views, I do it because I picked up on that case. I get demonetized every time I do a video on. I've just had about 3 back. Demonetization confirmed. I don't even expect, you know, what they mean by that is they won't. I mean, you should still play the video, but they don't sort of push it to it for, you know, their algorithm doesn't push it. It doesn't help your algorithm in general. But it doesn't matter. It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't mean that I'm never going to talk about Sarah Sharif again because YouTube will demonetize it. I don't care if they demonetize. It does irritate me sometimes because I think they're not, because don't forget when they demonetize it, it's not only you it's affecting as a creator, but it means they're not pushing that out. So it's like, so that story is not getting as much exposure. People, I want people to hear about Sarah Sharif and what's happened to her. You know, you want people to know about it. People, Sarah's story should be told. So it's annoying for that point of view as well. You know, whereas you can put up stories about the biggest load of crap that you've ever heard, and that'll get sort of pushed out. You know, and everyone will get to see that. The algorithm picks it up. Whereas with Sarah Sharif, the algorithm's not picking it up because YouTube have demonetized it. So, you know, so it's, I mean, YouTube is a mystery. I mean, you know, it's great that we've got YouTube and we can use it to talk about things and make communities. But it also causes a lot of problems, like with disappearing comments and things like that. And people get the ump because, I mean, Ninchi won't get the ump because she's a creator and she knows it happens on her channel as well. And then Yvonne had said it's happened to her on other things. It does happen. People don't believe you, but, you know, I've given up even trying to explain it. It happens and that's it. Sometimes comments don't even make it onto the thing, never mind getting hidden afterwards. Or sometimes I get comments that will come up and say, this comment's been withheld. Do you want, you know, and I have to agree it or not. And I think, well, why have I got to agree it? Because you decide what's okay or not. So why are you even putting it there for me to agree? It's like, I feel like if then I agree it, they'll go, well, you can't, you know, you can't show it. And then sometimes they even withhold my comments. I put a comment in chat and it'll come up, oh, this has been deemed as possible spam or offensive. And I'm like, that's my own comment on my own channel. You know, what am I going to say that's offensive or spam to myself? You know, it's crazy, honestly. It is. I've sort of given up trying to understand it. and I've given up trying to explain it. But the only reason I'm talking about it now is because Ninchi mentioned it. I don't like people to think that I've deleted a comment when I haven't. If I have deleted a comment, it will be because you're either talking about another channel, trying to find out where someone lives, or doxing yourself, or whatever, or just being generally offensive about something. Then I'm not saying I never delete comments. What I'm saying is, but if I do, I normally say, oh, I've had to delete that comment, sorry, or, you know, whatever. I don't normally just delete comments just for nothing, unless maybe somebody's just not listened to 2 million times I've told them not to do something, and then they carry on doing it. Then I might delete it just without even saying anything. So I've given, you know, you get fed up of keep saying the same thing to the same people. But generally, no, because you don't want to delete your comments anyway, because comments go towards your algorithm. You know, if, you know, that my son told me that ages ago, because I can't remember who it was, and I deleted a comment. It was like literally when I first started sort of seriously doing videos, and my son said, oh, what are you deleting the comment for? You shouldn't delete it because it goes towards your algorithm, even the trolls. So he's told me, don't even delete the trolls and this, that, and the other. But I do delete the trolls in the end, because they try and disrupt your stream and what have you. So it's just irritating because I don't have any mods or anything. So I've always got to keep worrying what they're going to say and everything. So in the end, I do delete them just because I can't be asked. But he says I shouldn't even do that. I should just leave all the trolls in there because they're contributing towards the algorithm as well, but they're so disagreeable, aren't they? So, but as I say, I don't get many trolls. The only time I get trolls is if I do Nicola Bully or Peter Folding or Mark Williams Thomas or, you know, Jay Slater. One of those. I won't get trolls on this one, for example. Okay, so sorry. Oh God, I've started waffling on there now. I've lost track of what I'm saying. Hi, Claire. Hello, nice to see you in here. Sorry, I'm reading through the chat now. See, I get distracted then reading through the chat. Shouldn't do that. Yeah, maybe I need to do Shannon Matthews. I don't know if I've ever covered the Shannon Matthews case. Anyway, maybe I'll do that. I think I covered it when her uncle who helped with the fake kidnapping, he died, didn't he, recently? So I did cover that, I think. Okay, so what I want to show you now is then, so Catherine, bless her, she has made a comment on her on the Facebook group, which I think is so very touching. And as I say, the difference between sort of the dignity and the respect and everything that we get from Catherine, you know, compared to all the lies and misinformation from Dog the Bounty Hunter, Nik the TWAT and Seth Rogers, the contrast is incredible. So this is what she said. Just to say, I have had so many messages of support after today's interview with Morning Live. Thank you so much. I don't believe that I'm strong. I'm doing what any mother would do to find her son. Jack is my absolute world, and it's now up to myself, family and friends, along with the amazing support from the public that we are totally indebted to find out what has happened to Jack. So, you know, she's so sort of grateful as well to people for supporting her. The people whose job it is to look for, to contrast that with what Seth Rogers was like when he had all these YouTubers on his side, and then he started sending them all cease and desist letters and telling them they shouldn't speak about Sebastian. And what he meant was, that's after Tony got involved. What he meant was, no, I'm not having other people profiting from it. I'm going to profit from it because I'm the father. He was an absent father. He wasn't a father that was ever there for Sebastian. Anyway, never mind. The people whose job it is to look for Jack have badly let us down. Our dealings with these people is they simply just don't care enough. It's treated as just a missing person. Now, I do think that's true because, you know, at the end of the day, though, the police, you know, like it or not, there's a lot of missing people out there. and it is just another missing person to the police. I'm sorry, but it is, because they can't care. Imagine, they cannot get involved with every single missing persons case. Now, that's not that I'm saying that they shouldn't do their best to find missing people like Jack. Of course they should. But it is up to the family in a way to push any person who's got a missing person or someone who's been murdered, murder cases, things. The family do have to push it as well, because the police, the thing is, it's just like if in your job you've got, let's say you've got 50 things you've got to do. Like with the police, it might be 50 missing people they've got to deal with. It would be more than that probably in every area. You're trying your best, but you can't because of all the cuts and everything. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe if there's some money injected back into the police, and that might make a difference. But they've been cut back so far over the last 13 years. So you've got 50 people who are missing. Who are you going to concentrate on? Because every one of those 50 people is the most important person to their own family. You know, so then nobody's more important, less important to their family. That, like Catherine says, Jack is the only thing that's important to her. And although she cares probably about other people's missing people, I'm sure she's a very compassionate woman, she can't care about them as much as she cares about Jack. It's impossible, isn't it? So then you look at the police have got, and then they've not only got the missing people to sort out, they've got all the other knife crime, drugs, robberies, sex assaults, domestic violence, animal cruelty or whatever. So, you know, they've got all those things lined up. It's impossible with the best will in the world. It is almost up to the family to keep pushing them and keep bringing their loved one back up to the surface. And that's why it's good that how social media can help, can't it? Just keep talking about it, keep pushing for it. But it's no point in bashing the police, really, because it's not that they're thinking, oh, stuff you, we don't care about Jack. It's like we can't cope with everything that we've got to think about, you know. It makes sense to me. But anyway, she has been unhappy with the way the police have dealt with it. She feels like she's had to do a lot of the detective work herself, and probably she has. But she's just got to keep going, you know. It's like, you know, I hope I never have to find out what it's like, but it must be just awful. So every missing person is someone's child, sibling or close family member. These people deserve a voice. I'm not prepared to say it's just one of those things and you're going to have to accept it. I don't know if the police would say that, but anyway, maybe they have said that to her. What would any parent do? Please treat us with the respect we deserve by continuing to share our story and the posts of other families in our terrible situation. Its pain at times is on a level that is uncomprehendable. I would not wish anyone to go through the pain we are experiencing. As ever, I continue to ask people, please share any information that might help us find our son. Oh, bless. Thanks again for your continued support, Catherine. So she posted that on Facebook after that morning live interview that we looked at, and it really is just, you know, oh gosh. Thing is, she doesn't even know where to go and grieve for her son, even if she thinks maybe he is deceased, if she's sort of got to that point in her head. Where does she go to? You know, there's no grave. She doesn't even know even if she ended up accepting that he fell in the river, which doesn't know which part of the river he fell in. His body's never been recovered. She'll be trying to work with the thought that no, you know, she said that she felt he had been taken off in a car. That's what she said in this Sonia Poulsen interview. When Sonia asked her, what do you feel has happened to your son? And she said, I feel like he's got in a car. And let's hope he did. You know, and maybe he is somewhere, you know, being held against his will, but it just seems a long time now, isn't it, to do that? But anyway, she needs a resolution, whatever resolution it is. That's what they need. And, you know, she's not the only family in the cases that were covered. So we've got Sebastian, they've got Samantha Murphy, although they know in Australia, although they know what's happened to her, supposedly. We don't know any details yet. But they don't know where she is. They haven't got her body, her remains, have they? And as you say, Ninchi, as you said earlier, I hope, Mick, you know, this is going to be a tough Christmas because he's got 3 children. He's got to be a mother and a father too now. That'd be a hard Christmas, won't it? You know, Christmas is hard when you're going through any kind of problems, as we've talked about before. It don't matter if they're financial problems, mental health problems, physical health problems, relationship problems. It could be your children, it could be your husband, your wife, it could be financial problems, whatever problems. Christmas makes everything worse. That's why there's so many crimes at Christmas, because Christmas creates an atmosphere of tension, doesn't it? Whether it be because, you know, you can't stand your partner really, but suddenly you've got to actually spend some time with them, or whether you haven't got the money, you can't afford to buy things for Christmas, or you're ill so you can't enjoy Christmas. Oh, I mean, there's a million reasons to not enjoy Christmas, as there are to enjoy it, really, isn't there? So, you know, I don't know. So, I think coming up to Christmas, I probably will make, you know, we'll be talking about various people, you know, who were suffering at Christmas, etc. Yeah, closure. There's got to be some sort of closure. Closure's a funny word, isn't it? It's a funny word, closure, because, you know, you think, well, will there? But it is a type of closure if you can bury your loved one. You know, ask anyone who hasn't been able to bury their loved one, and again, someone who, although they might have lost a loved one, but at least they've been able to bury them and know what's happened to them. It is what I call cold comfort. It's comfort, even though it's cold comfort. It's a comfort. So, yeah. I think, Laurie, you know, that what they say is, I think they can say 20, there is no real rule. So that I think what happens when someone's reported missing, the police will, you know, talk about it. Say I rang and reported my son missing. Well, they take it all into consideration, don't they? Well, he's a young adult. He's an adult, first of all. So he can do what the hell he wants. You know, his mum's not in control of what he does. He's in his 20s. He's not a vulnerable adult. They wouldn't think of him as like a vulnerable in the sense of, because he's, you know, he's like in his 20s. He's not a teenager. Also, they'd probably ask me, you know, does he have any issues, substance issues, or any problems that he's dealing with, or has he had any threats? I think they do like an interview on the phone, don't they? And then they take notes of it, and then at the end of it, they decide how, you know, some people are more urgent, if you like, to look for than others. So they'd probably say to me, has he expressed any thoughts of, you know, self-deletion or whatever, you know, that's kind of thing. And someone who hadn't, you know, they probably wouldn't find as urgent or pressing as if I turn around and said, oh, well, actually, he has threatened that many times, or, you know, I do think it depends on the person and their normal sort of history. I think they took Jack's disappearance seriously, but they just haven't been able to find him. So I just think they do think he's in the water somewhere. But I say they took his disappearance seriously. Now, you know what? I'm just sorry, as I'm just on this live now, I've just had an email through about a video I did, a members live about John Benet Ramsey. Now, that was a members live that I did about John Benet, and YouTube flagged it up, as they do. Because, you know, they flag it up and they say, oh, limited monetization, and they do an investigation, like, or whatever. They do a human review. Now, that's just come through that it's okay, it's fine. So I don't understand. Why is that fine? And why is Sarah Sharif's videos not fine? They're both talking about, they're all talking about the death of a young girl. Maybe it's because the Jean Benet Ramsey one is a long time ago. I don't know. But it's odd, isn't it? I'd love to know how they decide. And sometimes, you know, because I've got 2 channels that I'm streaming directly on this channel and on my Spanish channel. Sometimes a video gets flagged up on one channel, but the exact same video doesn't get flagged up on the other one. So it gets demonetized on one, but not on the other. YouTube, anyway. Thing is, you can't argue with YouTube, can you? You know, at the end of the day, they're the ones in control. So that's all there is. Yeah. He looks like a nice lad, doesn't he, Jack? I mean, you know, the thing is, you don't always know your son, even though you think you do. So maybe he was off his face on drugs or whatever, you know, I don't know. Had he taken substances at that party? I would hope that the police have interviewed people at the party and have found out what's happened there. But, you know, again, it's an ongoing investigation. We won't get to find out what exactly they do know. Do they know something more? And they're just not giving it away, or do they really just think, oh well, he's gone in the river, and are they now concentrating their resources on other things? But yeah, if I was Catherine, which obviously I don't understand exactly what it's like to be Catherine and be going through this, but obviously you would not give up, so because you can't, because that's your son. So you would, she's got the GoFundMe, you know, you would be going search, you know, you get search teams. I think that's what she's doing. You know, people are going out searching. But the problem is with the diving, I mean, you can't go and dive the rivers. Maybe she should try and get in touch with Peter Folding or whatever, or some specialist dive team. Maybe, I'm surprised he hasn't got involved in that case, really, to be honest, because that seems a prime thing to me. Yvonne, yeah, if you do it on the Spanish channel, it's cheaper. Oh, somebody else's Amazon package is arriving today. Whoever else, I don't know who's someone else. Yeah, do it on the Spanish channel. It is cheaper on the Spanish channel, and you can't use the emojis that you can use on this channel then, but you can. You do get to join in the streams. I think it's $2.99 on the Spanish channel. Eventually they will all be merged together. I'll just let you know that, because I've got the Carry On Chatting, the Let's Chat, and the Spanish channel. Eventually they'll all be sort of, when I get around to it, they will be merged together. But I think at the moment the Spanish channel is $2.99. So yeah, every penny counts at this time of year, doesn't it? You know, so if you can save a couple of quid, good. Yeah, it could be the comments, David. I don't know how they work out. I don't know. Do they? Yeah, maybe they do go when they look at the videos. Maybe if the comments come up, maybe they do go through the comments as well, and maybe it is the comments as well that decide. I'm not sure, to be honest. I just imagine someone sat watching the video, and you know, I never go. I know it's talk of what happened. I mean, it is emotional, isn't it? What happened to Sarah, but is the same as what happened to Jean Benet Ramsey. Really, is, you know, the way she was killed was awful. So, and it was an even younger girl, and that. But I don't know. I don't. Maybe it's because there's been a time lapse. I mean, it has been 30 years, hasn't it? Oh, imagine Jean Benet. She would be in her 30s now. Bless her. It's awful, isn't it, really? Yeah, she never got a future, did she? But yeah, I'm still intrigued by that. You know, I've been watching sort of, again, lots of things about that, and I'm definitely going to do some more videos about that, concentrating on like the ransom note and that garrote thing. That garrote thing is really bugging me, because I obviously it was homemade, but it was like, who would even know how to create a garrote? You know, would you? I wouldn't. If somebody said to me, my life depended on it, you know, somebody said, right, you know, put a gun to my head and said, there you go, you got to make a garrote. I wouldn't know how to do it. And I was looking at that garrote. The knot was perfectly done on it. And apparently one of these suspects, he was an expert in knots. So he's got to be the most likely suspect in my eyes. But yeah, I think those are the two key things, the garrote and the ransom note. They're the keys to that case of Jean Bonnet, I think. Yeah. I think the police do try their best. You know, I do think they do. And I think they will have probably tried quite hard with Jack in the beginning. And then as time goes on, it's a sad fact of life that as time goes on, other things happen as well, don't they? You know, so they can only do so much. You know, is there a special missing persons unit in the UK? And I don't know how they deal with it in Spain either. I've noticed they've got quite a lot more on Twitter and things like that. They've got quite a lot more posts now about missing people. They're having a big sort of surge about it. But maybe they just do that every now and again. I don't know, but yeah. Okay, my voice is going out. My voice is going. I've done quite well, actually. Done quite well. We've been on for an hour and a half. So my voice is going anyway, but I wanted to let you know what had happened with Sebastian, that all that was a load of rubbish about the green hoodie person, which, to be honest, you always knew. Well, I always felt that, knew that it was going to be a load of rubbish. And I think Dog, he needs to just butt out. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that, because at least he does bring attention. So that's got to be good, isn't it? But it's not the right sort of attention, is it? It's not the right sort of attention. Oh, yeah, the NCA and missing people, yeah. Yeah. Also, it was saying on that programme that, of course, most people reappear within 24 hours, don't they, or something? And I think there's only 1% of people, it was saying, stay missing for longer than a month. And the people that stay missing for longer than a month, they're normally deceased. That, you know, they just are, aren't they? Because, but not always, because sometimes people do turn up after a long, long time. So you've always got to have hope, haven't you? Yeah, they're very sophisticated knots, David. They were sophisticated knots, definitely. I think Burke, you know, the brother who's had a lot, he's got an unfortunate manner, hasn't he? You know, he's when you see him being interviewed and he's grinning and everything, that doesn't mean say did it, but it's like makes people stand back, you know. And there was the pineapple, of course, in her tummy. That was the other thing. So, yeah, we're going to do some videos about Jean Bonnet, have some kind of a little study group or whatever, and put our opinions forward. And, you know, I hope to God, seems to feel more promising now with the DNA advances, that maybe they might be able to solve it in the end. So let's hope so. Doesn't bring little Jean Bonnet back. Her life's been robbed from her. But it does feel good when you get some justice, doesn't it? Especially the sort of, I've got a brilliant, I say brilliant, none of these stories are brilliant because they always involve the death of someone. But I've got a really, a really satisfying case that I want to bring you about somebody who was caught on familial DNA many years later. A man who had murdered, you know, a young teenage girl, and literally went on to become like a pillar of the community with this secret inside him. And eventually he was caught because his son got into trouble, like, you know, with the police, and had to give his DNA sample, and ding dong, came up from this girl from years and years before, who had been murdered, and it was his dad who did it. So I've given you a bit of a spoiler alert now when I do the video. But you know, I just love that. It's so satisfying, isn't it? When people that think they've got away with it, they do, you know, they haven't. Anyway. Okay, so I'm going to light my candle. My candle is for today for Sebastian, of course. Sebastian's little face, he's got such a sweet little face. He seems like such a, I don't know, just an innocent, doesn't he? But anyway, for Jack OSullivans, and of course for their loved ones, a little special for Catherine and the rest of the family, but especially Catherine, because I feel like Jack's mum, Catherine, she's carrying the weight for everyone. She's out there doing the interviews and, you know, that kind of thing. So especially thoughts for her as well. Okay. Oh, Heather, you're going to have to rewind. Heather, we should do a watch along tonight of the Strictly Come Dancing final. I'll be watching that tonight. But I'll be thinking of you because I know you like it as well. So I'll see you all really soon in the next video. It probably won't be tonight, but it definitely will be tomorrow. And until I see you again, take care and may your God go with you. Thank you so much. Bye.